Hello, so we're here today with Zainab Washtuki, who is a 15-year-old in a New York City high school. We will be discussing her experiences as an American Muslim teenager. Zainab, how has it been to be an American Muslim teenager? Have you faced any obstacles? Have you ever had any problems?
Well, being an American teenager is pretty hard, but then adding Muslim to it can make it even harder for some of us and stuff. And like whenever you're just around with a group of friends discussing what your religion is and you say Muslim, they're like, first thing that pops to their head is, oh, terrorist. And they think it's funny to make jokes. Oh, do you have any bombs? Do you know how to make bombs? Do you know Osama bin Laden? And I'm just like, haha, I laugh it off. Whatever. It's really like, it's just really heartbreaking, I guess, to see how ignorant people are about the religion.
So how did your life change after September 11th?
I mean, I was really young. I was 5, I guess. Yeah, I was 5. But I mean, I remember my parents and my mom, whenever she talked to her Muslim friends, they would always talk about it and just say how like they always get stares from other people because they wear hijab on their head, like a headscarf.
What more do you think Muslims can do, perhaps, to help change the negative image that has been displayed across the media for the past decade?
I mean, but just be more open to people and just talk to different people and show them that you really are a normal person. I guess just get to know more people and let the word out, like help spread the word that not all Muslims are dangerous and terrorists, I guess.
So just by sort of creating bridges through interfaith dialogue?
Yeah.
So what are some takeaway words that you would like someone who's never met an American Muslim teenager to know? Some key phrases, just something that you would really like to impress upon their minds.
Well, basically that American teenagers are normal people and that we like to go shopping, we like to go to the movies, we like to go to the park, we like to hang out. That we're not any different, it's just that the label, it's just like the religion Muslim that's put on you that makes you different, but just your personality and everything is just a normal American teens, I guess.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I think that whether in the West or in the Middle East, what's going on is that every media in its own place is being very biased to its people, and that's creating too many stereotypes, and it's making it harder to break them. For example, in the U.S., because the media is very biased with the U.S. foreign policy and what the U.S. is trying to do to the world, and in the same situation, the media in the Middle East is being very biased with the Arab countries and what they're trying to do and how they want peace, etc., etc. So everybody is being stuck in the same place. They think they're right and everybody else is wrong, because that's the message that's being delivered to them. And as I said before, that's creating too many stereotypes and it's making it harder to break them. The first step in breaking stereotypes between Western countries and predominant Muslim countries would be changing the dynamic of the internal societies of both countries. What I mean is, this might sound a bit trivial, but I think it's the most important step we need to do. If we teach people about forgiveness, about dialogue, and how it's going to improve their lives and how it's going to improve their relationships with the outside world.
ليس فقط من وجود عنصر التاريخ أو اللغة أو الدين أو أي عنصر آخر، لكن هنالك أيضا السياسة. السياسة لعبت دور كبير في توسيع هذه الفجوة وهذه الهوة الحضارية ما بين الغرب والشرق من جهة أخرى. عندما أتحدث عن السياسة لا أتحدث عن سياسة دولة، بل أتحدث عن سياسة مجتمع بشكل عام، المجتمع الغربي بشكل عام اتجاه القضايا الموجودة في الوطن العربي الذي يمثل بطبيعة الحال شرق هذا العالم. يعني أعتقد أن لدى المواطن العربي والشرقي بشكل عام استياء واضح من السياسة الموجودة في الغرب. هذا الاستياء مصدره انحياز الغرب للدولة التي يعتبرها المواطن العربي بشكل عام دولة عدوة له، ألا وهي إسرائيل. يعني المواطن العربي يعتقد أن هنالك تهديد من إسرائيل لأمنه وسلامته ولعيشه بشكل عام. أيضا التواصل التاريخي ما بين الشعب العربي من جهة والشعب الفلسطيني من جهة أخرى هو تواصل تاريخي، علاقة حميمة ما بين الفلسطينيين وأشقائهم العرب من جهة أخرى. لذلك نرى أن جميع الممارسات القمعية التي تمارسها إسرائيل تجاه الشعب الفلسطيني تنعكس بطبيعة الحال كاستياء عام وغضب عارم لدى المواطن العربي. وبطبيعة الحال المواطن العربي يلقي باللوم على السياسة الغربية، دائما يعتقد أن أي قرار يدين إسرائيل سوف يكون هنالك فيتو أمريكي وسوف يكون هنالك فيتو بريطاني يحول دون إصدار هذا القرار من هيئة الأمم.
Actually, if we look at the Hollywood movies, we unconsciously analyze them, we would see how much stereotyping is going on in the Hollywood about Arabs and Muslims. It's very frequent that a murderer is called Ali or Ahmad or Muhammad, and then there is stereotyping about Arabs in their homeland being Bedouins, enjoying belly dancing and almost understanding nothing and doing nothing, which is absolutely unfair to the hundreds of millions of educated Arabs and Muslims actually living not only in the Middle East but all over the world, contributing to the progress of the civilization. I lived in the US for 4 years, actually doing my graduate studies, and a few points actually did trigger my attention or my surprise at certain points. First one, as I mentioned, there was a big surprise for that female Muslim woman coming from traditional background is doing her studies in the US and have professional and personal aspiration. Actually, the underestimation for what Arabs can do. I was at MIT and everybody was super surprised that how did you get to MIT even though you're Arab or Muslim. Actually, I saw this on many faces. Of course, I'm not stereotyping about Americans. There were many people who are really aware of what's going on of Orientalism, or who are very welcoming, who are very empathetic with what's going on, and who actually feel apologetic for where the West.
How is that a result of 9/11? Given your background, what are some of the observations that you've made when, in the course of interviewing or filming people regarding Muslim-West relations?
apologizing because we didn't do it. We're like the 99%. Yes, we are. So we are the 99%, and why should we have to apologize? So from there, there's a more sort of active dialogue where it's like, well, why don't you get to know more about Islam? So what we'll do then is we will then try to inform you more about Islam. We'll open up our, mosques and or, have more sort of Islamic information days, things like that to that effect.
What are the causes of bad relations? Wow. Um, I think primarily, like fundamentally, the problem is ignorance, of course, and I think that's always the fundamental problem. When I spent right around 9/11, I was working with young offenders who were in custody, not allowed to be on the streets, but were not in a jail setting. They were in a house, like a halfway house kind of place, waiting court dates. And it's like 15 boys, and usually it broke down to about, they would be like half Muslim boys and half everybody else, in a sense. Because very few of the Christian boys actually practiced any kind of religious practice. Right after 9/11, like, the classroom became explosive most of the time. And it fundamentally came down to ignorance. These guys were all like friends in the sense of like as much as you can be friends in a jail setting. Like, you have your hierarchies, your Darwinian nonsense going on, but they have to like be in close contact with each other on a daily basis and share bathrooms, and we go to the gym and we have a classroom and all that stuff. So they get to know each other and like each other more or less most of the time, right? But right after 9/11, we had a boy from Scarborough who was originally from Egypt, and we had this young man who was just from outside of Aurelia, who had been basically found by the police. He'd never been to school in his entire life. He just wasn't even registered as a person in Canada, and he got caught doing a break and enter. And then he was basically this feral, illiterate, like really classic, like from the woods guy. And he had this really narrow kind of stereotypical idea of the Muslim world, where it's fanatical, praying, crazy, gun-toting.
They were all international people there, from Russia, from Ukraine, and we had a very great classroom with 20 students, each one from different countries: Colombia, Turkey, Iraq, Iran. So it was a really international kind of atmosphere. It really based me. That was the base of Culture Clash, basically, because that was when I saw that people from extremely different backgrounds they had the same goal, learning Dutch language, and they were really, really good, bonded. It was an extraordinary group. Unfortunately, no